Friends, today I'm discussing the multiple choice questions appeared in Physiology Paper-2, Set B of first MBBS examination conducted on 24th January 2023 by the YSR University of Health Sciences. I am discussing these questions, and at the end of the answer, I substantiated the answers with the references of either international edition of the Guyton or Genong or other books as required. There are two questions which are not clear or can be disputed or do not have the correct answer. And I will describe about them when I discuss those questions at that moment. And finally, I summarized those things in the end of the presentation. Let us continue now with the question number 1. The sensation carried by lateral spinothalamic tract is vibration, fine touch, warmth, stereognosis. In fact, the stem of this question should be anterolateral spinothalamic tract. And the anterolateral spinothalamic tract, the anterior spinothalamic tract carries the warmth and the crude touch. The lateral spinothalamic tract carries the pain. Though this question, the stem of this question is not correct scientifically, but as given in Genong, page 167, the answer is warmth. However, I take the answer to this question is C, warmth. Rather, the stem should be anterolateral spinothalamic tract or anterior spinothalamic tract. Going to the next question. Question 2. With respect to pain, correct statement is free nerve endings are pain receptors. B. Visceral pain reaches the spinal cord through motor nerve fibers. C. Fibers carrying pain impulses synapse at nucleus cuneatus in the medulla. D. Pain is carried by dorsal column tract. Dorsal column tract carries the fine touch, tactile localization, tactile discrimination, diagnosis, vibration, proprioception, etc. Pain is not carried by that. Hence, it's not true. Now, carrying pain impulses synapse at a nucleus cuneatus? No, nucleus cuneatus is the dorsal column sensations originating from the upper neck and the upper limb, which makes a synapse at a nucleus cuneatus. That's again a dorsal column sensation. So hence it is not correct. The visceral pain reaches the spinal cord through motor nerves. No, it's not true. So therefore, I'm just trying to see at the exclusion and trying to give information. Free nerve endings are the pain receptors. Free nerve endings are the pain receptors either for the pain sensations carried by the unmyelinated fibers or thinly myelinated fibers. The answer to this question is A. Free nerve endings are pain receptors. So you can see this reference in Guyton and Hall, page 613. Question number 3. Slow waves in visceral smooth muscle A can initiate action potential. B are also called pacemaker waves. C arise without external stimulus. D all of the above. The slow waves in the smooth muscle, slow waves of the action potential or the potential in the smooth muscles are due to the the spontaneous activity of the smooth muscles without any external stimulus. When they reach a particular level, they trigger an action potential. And hence, when they act as a sort of a pacemaker potential. So the answer to this question is all of the above. You can see this reference in Guyton and Hall, page 107 to 108, where they have described about these slow waves in detail. The answer to question number 3 is all of the above. D. Question number 4. Which of the following is not true about compound action potential in mixed nerve? A. Obeys all or none law. B. First peak belongs to the slowest conducting fibers. C. Shows different peaks. D. First peak belongs to fast conducting fibers. The answer A and B are correct, because this is a compound action potential. A compound action potential is conducted in a mixed nerve extracellularly. When we stimulate these mixed nerve extracellularly, with a lower threshold, the large diameter fibers are excited, or a low threshold fibers are excited. As you increase the threshold, or as you increase the voltage or the current, so the other fibers are also recruited. Hence, there is a graded response. So it's not the question, the obeys all or none law is not correct, because this obeys all or none law is true for intracellular action potential. I make it clear that is true for intracellular action potential recorded intracellularly, or if it is only one nerve fiber. Therefore, that is the question number A is not true. That's correct. The first peak belongs to the slowest conducting fibers. Okay, again, it is not true. It's not true for compound action potential, because the first peak belongs to the fast conducting fibers. And shows different peaks is true. C and D are true. A and B are not true. Hence, in this question, there are two correct responses. Thus can be disputed. So one has to be clear or careful when you are getting the keys, and then you are trying to represent this matter. You can represent this matter by obeys all or none law, or first peak belongs to the slowest conducting fibers. This one I have given reference for all of you, because I have a extensive work on the recording the extracellular potentials from the dorsal roots and ventral roots, and by stimulating the dorsal root. These are the synaptic potentials, so we have recorded, and I have extensive work, and there is a graded response all the time. Okay, so now in that way, so that is my own personal experience, and my own references. Maybe we may have 30-40 references in international journals published by me or my group. Then anyway, that is a different story. Now I will be giving a reference of the candle, wherein large axons are more easily excited than small axons by the extracellular current stimuli. Hence, the stimulation of a varying current increases the recruitment of new fibers, hence have a graded response. Thus, statement obeys all or none law is not true. Principles of Neural Science, Candle, Eric Kandel, McGraw-Hill Publications, 4th edition, 2000 year of publication, and page number 146. Moving on to the, this is the detail. I have given the excerpt of that page 146, except I have given for your reference. For anybody who questions it, you can just take this picture, screenshot, and you can show it. Moving on to the question number 5. flushing, anhydrosis, ptosis, meiosis, and absence of ciliospinal reflex is seen in flushing, anhydrosis, ptosis, meiosis. Absence of ciliospinal reflex is seen in. These all indicate the autonomic or sympathetic responses. So now, once I have summarized the sympathetic, the answers are the options are A. Brown-Sequard syndrome, B. Cushing's reflex, T. Tape's dorsalis, D. Horner syndrome. A. In Brown-Sequard syndrome, it is the hemisection of the spinal cord. Hemisection of the spinal cord. So it may happen at any level. So now it is not true for this flushing anhydrosis ptosis. They have Brown-Sequard syndrome comes with certain other features with the paralysis and the loss of sensation, a differential loss of sensations in the limb. The Cushing's reflex is the reflex for the regulation of the pressure when there is an increased intracranial pressure that results in this Cushing's reflex, and that will increase the pressure, decrease the heart rate due to the barrow activity, and alters the respiratory these things. So now it is not true. Tape's dorsalis is the dorsal root lesions in the dorsal root produced by the tertiary stage of the syphilis. So now the Tape's dorsalis, if there is a dorsal root, then there is no sensations. It does not produce this, and it's not true. It's a Horner syndrome. Horner syndrome is usually something pressing in the superior cervical ganglion, which supplies the head, neck, and face. In this situation, usually the pressures in the cervical rib or some tumors pressing on the ciliary ganglion in the superior cervical ganglion of the sympathetic distinct in the neck, and that produces the alterations in the sympathetic activity that results in the flushing, anhydrosis, that is no sweating, the ptosis, the drooping of the eyelid, and the meiosis, the constriction of the pupil, and the absence of the ciliospinal reflex. Ciliospinal reflex is when you scratch in the neck, it will produce the pupillary alterations. So now the answer to this question is Horner syndrome. This is the correct answer. You can go to page 263 of Canon. Moving on to question number 6. Which of the following neurotransmitter is used by the axons of the substantia nigra neurons which project to the caudate and putamen? A. Norepinephrine, B. Dopamine, C. Serotonin, D. Acetylcholine. The caudate and putamen put together are called striatum. The question is, what are the neurotransmitters from the nigrostriatal tract? Nigrostriatal tract. That means from the substantia nigra to the striatum, nigrostriatal tract. The nigrostriatal tract, that the neurons in the substantia nigra reach the striatum, that is the caudate and putamen, and release dopamine. Dopamine is the answer. The answer is B. Dopamine is the correct response. So it's an easy question, and you can find this thing in page 147 and 244 of Kellogg's review. Question number 7. Which of the following neuron forms synaptic junctions with intrafusal fibers within the muscle spindles? Responses are A. Alpha motor neurons, B. Pyramidal neurons, C. Gamma motor neurons, D. Granule cells. Let us examine these responses. Alpha motor neurons supply the extrafusal fibers. Pyramidal neurons, they are the neurons present in the cortex. They descend down, form the corticospinal tract, and they descend down and project on the alpha motor neurons. that is from the cortex, pyramidal neurons, they project onto the alpha motor neurons. The granule cells are present in the cerebellum, and these granule cells project onto the as a T or a horizontal fibers or parallel fibers intercept the Purkinje neurons or Purkinje dendrites in the cerebellum. So now it is not true. So the correct response is gamma motor neurons. Gamma motor neurons supply the intrafusal fibers. They make the synaptic contact there with the intrafusal fibers. There is again a dynamic gamma motor neuron or a static gamma motor neuron. So that is a different details. Question number 8. Which of the following Broadmann number for primary motor cortex? Which of the following is a Broadmann number for primary motor cortex? 6, A6, B5, C4, D3. Here I have taken the picture. This blue, the blue line, this is the primary cortex. It is area 4. Area 6 is the supplementary motor cortex. Area 3 forms the somatosensory cortex. 3, 1, 2 are the somatosensory cortex. 3 is part of the somatosensory cortex. Area 5 is the association, somatosensory association area, or that is in the parietal region, posterior parietal region. So answer to this question number 8 is C, Broadmann area 4. Question number 9. Blobs of visual cortex are associated with color processing, orientation, saccadic eye movements, the light perception. Layers 2 and 3 of the visual cortex contain clusters of cells about 0.2 millimeter in diameter that, unlike the neighboring cells, contain high concentration of the mitochondrial cytochrome oxidase energy. The clusters have been named as blobs. They are arranged in a mosaic pattern in the visual cortex and are concerned with the color vision. So this is what I have taken from Gallant's review of medical physiology, page 191. So the answer to this question is color processing, because the orientation, the saccadic eye movements is again in the collicular or the collicular region, where the vestibular and the cerebellar inputs are put together and other proprioceptive inputs are come together. And light perception is not with the blobs. So the correct answer is A, color processing. If red-green cones are stimulated equally, color observed is red, green, yellow, purple. So when red and green are stimulated, you should ask a painter. Painter will tell what color it will come up, and it will come up with a yellow color if you have an equal distribution of the red and green. Same thing happens when you have stimulated with a great equally both 50% red, 50% green. So then color developed is yellow. The answer to this question is C, yellow. Purple does not come because purple requires a blue color to be activated. The red, because you are also stimulating green, it cannot be red. It cannot be green because you are stimulating the red. So therefore, the answer is yellow. Medial geniculate body is related with A, vision, B, hearing, C, smell, D, taste. Very easy question. Medial geniculate body is a nucleus in the thalamus, and this nucleus in the thalamus carries this auditory, takes the auditory inputs coming from the cochlear nuclei, and then they will transmit to the auditory cortex. So therefore, the medial geniculate body is concerned with hearing. If you are looking at a vision, it is a lateral geniculate body. For a smell, olfactory cortex directly, because from the olfactory nerve, it does not directly relay into the thalamus. It may come indirect. Taste, it's along with the somatosensory area, that is a ventroposterolateral part of the thalamic nucleus. So the medial geniculate body is the correct response. It's hearing. I have given the reference here, page 27 and 207 and 8. Answer to question number 11 is hearing. Easy question. Question number 12. The physiological basis of phantom limb is the Muller's law and Bell-Mezendi's law. B. Doctrine of specific nerve energies. C. Muller's law and law of projection. D. Bell-Mezendi law and law of projection. Before we go to the answers, of this question, let us examine these things. Laws of specific energies. The Muller proposed the laws of specific energy, that modality is property of the sensory nerve fiber. This is what he proposed. Each nerve fiber is activated primarily by a certain type of stimulus, and each makes a specific connection to the structures in the central nervous system, and whose activity gives rise to specific sensation. Thus, Muller's law, it is of specific nerve energies. This is Muller's law, is the law of specific nerve energies, identified the most important mechanism of neural coding and the stimulus modality. That's about Muller's law. Law of projection is that stimulation of a sensory system at any point central to the sense organs gives rise to a sensation which is projected to the periphery and not to the point of stimulation. Say, for example, if I stimulate the touch fibers either ascending in the medial lemniscus or in the thalamus or thalamocortical projections or in the cortex somatosensory area, you will feel only the touch sensation. This is the law of projection. Bell-Mezendi law, it states that the ventral spinal roots transmit motor impulses, the dorsal or posterior roots transmit sensory impulses. So, understanding these things, experts believe that phantom pain results from mix of a nervous system signals, specifically between the spinal cord and brain. When the body part is amputated, the nerve connections from the periphery to the brain remain in place. The brain can misinterpret the formation it's receiving process the signals as the sensation of pain, even if the amputated portion has since been removed. Say, for example, you have removed the leg, you have amputated, and he may have some projections from the knee which are there, and he may feel the sensation of a pain in the knee. That is a phantom limb. Now, getting back to the question, so this should be the physiological basis of phantom limb is, it's not Muller's law and Bell-Mezendi law, it's not correct. It's not only the law of doctrine of specific nerve energies, that is only simple Muller's law, or it is not the Bell-Mezendi law and law of projection. No, Bell-Mezendi law tells only about the dorsal ventral root relations, what they transmit, and the law of projection. And it is the correct response is Muller's law and law of projection. Muller's law tells about the specific nerve energies. Law of projection is the sensation which is being projected at different levels in the central nervous axis. So the answer is C. You can see it again on 169. Question number 13. Hypocalcemia is caused due to 1. A. Thyroxine. B. parathormone. C. cholecalciferol. D. calcitonin. Thyroxine do not produce hypocalcemia. Parathormone produces hypercalcemia. Cholecalciferol, it's a part of the forming of the vitamin D3. It's not a complete product. 1, 2, 3 dihydrocholecalciferol is the total vitamin D3 component, and it has to be gel metabolized. Even if it may act, it will act again. It will increase the calcium level. Calcitonin will decrease the calcium level. So the answer is D-calcitonin. So receptors for calcitonin lowers the circulating calcium and phosphate levels. It exerts a calcium lowering effect and by inhibiting a bone resorption, and the action is direct. Calcitonin inhibits the activity of the osteoclasts in vitro. It also increases the calcium excretion in the urine. Thus, one, by directly inhibiting the osteoclastic activity, so it inhibits the bone resorption and the calcium excretion. Both the things put together, there is a decrease in the calcium level, and the calcitonin is secreted from the thyroid gland or parathyroid in the thyroid gland, because thyroid gland mainly secretes thyroxine, because we have a parafollicular areas wherein you have calcitonin is secreted. You can find this thing on page 384 of Canog. Angiotensin is produced in A, liver, B, kidney, C, hypothalamus, D, lungs. Angiotensin, as such, it does not exist. You have 3 different forms of angiotensin. One, tensinogen, which is a precursor of angiotensin 1. Then there is the angiotensin 2. So the stem of this question is not correct. Okay, let me see the thing here. Liver produces angiotensinogen. Kidney produces renin, an enzyme which activates this angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. And now this angiotensin 1 is converted by the angiotensin converting enzyme present in the lungs and liver, mainly the lungs, to angiotensin 2, which exerts effect on the blood vessels in the heart and the kidney. Okay, this is what about the angiotensin mechanism. So now, going back to the question, angiotensin, there is no angiotensin here. So therefore, this question is not correctly formed, or it's not correct. So now, if I say that angiotensin is produced, I may say that liver, yes, liver produces angiotensinogen. It's a part of the angiotensin 1. Yes, kidney do not produce angiotensin. It produces renin. Hypothalamus, there are angiotensin 2 can be produced by the hypothalamus. Lungs produce high angiotensin 2. So therefore, the stem of the question is not correct. It can be disputed. It should be clearly spelled out whether angiotensinogen or angiotensinogen is produced in the liver, or angiotensin 1, which is produced in the kidney by the action of renin, or angiotensin 2 by lungs by the angiotensin converting enzyme. Hypothalamus also has angiotensin 2 as a transmitter for dipsynergic mechanisms. This question is not correct or correctly formed. Question number 15. Melatonin is secreted from. Easy question. Melatonin is secreted from pineal gland. It's not hypothalamus. It's not adrenal cortex. It's not melanocyte. The answer is pineal gland. So Genong 278. Question number 16. Hypoglycemic hormone. An easy question. A. Catecholamine. B. Somatostatin. C. Cortisol. D. Insulin. So now, if everybody will identify it as insulin. Catecholamine increase the Glucose level, it may produce hyperglycemia. Cortisol may produce hyperglycemia or will produce hyperglycemia. Somatostatin will suppress the growth hormone secretion. It may produce this thing, but insulin is a powerful hypoglycemic agent. So now you have the answer is insulin. D, insulin. Question number 17. Estrogen is not produced by A, pituitary, B, ovary, C, adrenal cortex, D, placenta. Ovary produces estrogen. Adrenal cortex produces estrogen or sex steroids. Placenta produces estrogen. So pituitary does not produce estrogen, but it will produce the FSH or LH or gonadotropins. Okay, so the answer to this question is A, pituitary is the correct response. Elasticity of cervical mucus is seen in A, proliferative stage, B, luteal stage, C, mid-cycle, D, menstruation. So it is in the mid-cycle, the elasticity is maximum. It's at the time of ovulation. It's also known as a spin per kit. That means you can make a thread of the cervical mucus in the mid-cycle. So a drop of cervical mucus can be stretched into long, thin thread of 8 to 12 centimeters or more. So this is elasticity. This is the correct response is mid-cycle, and it is seen in Genong's Review, Medical Physiology, page 404. Question number 19. Mid-cycle rise in basal body temperature is due to A, LH, B, FSH, C, estrogen, D, progesterone. A, LH is a luteinizing hormone. It will have an action on the corpus luteum. B, FSH is the follicular stimulating hormone, acts on the Graafian follicles for the proliferation of the granulosa cells. So now this is concerned with the ovarian, these things, that's either with the Graafian follicle or the luteum. Estrogen may have a metabolic effect, but it does not increase the body temperature. The progesterone will increase the body temperature. So that progesterone releases a chemical known as ethiocalinone. So this will increase the body temperature. So now the answer to this question is progesterone. So the increased body temperature is due to the progesterone, which is thermogenic, which has a chemical released, which is thermogenic. And you can see this thing in a page 405 and 6 of Genong. Answer to question number 19. 19 is D, progesterone. And the most powerful vasopressor is A, renin, B, angiotensin 2, D, aldosterone, D, cortisol. So this is the question. Angiotensin 2 is the most potent vasopressor agent. Renin is not a vasopressor agent. Renin converts angiotensin 1 to angiotensin to angiotensin 1. Aldosterone, by increasing the sodium reabsorption, increases the volume. It may produce the blood pressure, but it may not be powerful or a potent vasopressor. Cortisol, as it may done with the aldosterone by accumulating the sodium or salt. Okay, answer to this question is angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 is a powerful vasoconstrictor substance, and a little as 1/1,000,000 of a gram can increase the arterial pressure of a person by 50 millimeters of mercury or more. Guyton, page 214. Question number 4. Two correct responses. These correct responses are obeys all or none law, and first peak belongs to slowest conducting fibers. Question number 14. Angiotensin. Angiotensin is not a correct choice of word, either angiotensinogen or angiotensin 1 or angiotensin 2. So the stem is not correct. It should be clearly spelled out as angiotensinogen or angiotensin or angiotensin 2. So these two questions, question number 4 and 14, are disputed. They are not correct. They can be challenged. And even I feel question number 1. If I go back, question number 1 can also be disputed. However, I have taken the clue from the genomes. It should be anterolateral spinothalamic tract. That's the correct stem statement. One can be challenged. It's a ventrolateral or introlateral spinothalamic tract. Lateral spinothalamic tract carries pain. Ventral spinothalamic tract, that is anterior spinothalamic tract, carries temperature and crude touch. Okay. With this thing, I come with a discussion of this paper 2. Paper 2, there are definitely two questions which can be challenged. Question number 1, you may consider to be challenged. So please, when the keys are released from the University of Health Sciences, Dr. YSR University of Health Sciences, please make the representation and get the benefit of the doubt, because you should not suffer because of the certain vague questions. Please subscribe to the channel, leave comment in the box, mention any topic or questions to be discussed. Thank you very much.